Heartbreak is a strange kind of pain. It doesn't cut like a knife or burn like fire, but it lingers deep inside, gnawing at your soul, leaving you hollow. I never thought I'd find myself talking about this, about the day I discovered the person I loved more than anyone in the world had betrayed me. Yet here I am, pouring out my heart, hoping that my story might help someone else navigate the storm of heartbreak and find their way to peace. It started innocently enough. A text left unanswered, a smile that seemed forced, a touch that felt distant. But I brushed it off, as anyone in love might. She's just stressed, I told myself. Work must be overwhelming. For months, I ignored the growing pit in my stomach, the subtle warnings my intuition tried to deliver. Then came the day that everything unraveled in a single moment. We were about to leave for a friend's birthday party. She used her phone on CarPlay to navigate the address, then dashed back inside to grab the forgotten gift, leaving her phone behind. As I sat there, the engine idling, the phone's screen lit up, displaying a new text message on the CarPlay screen. Without meaning to, I glanced at it. "I can't wait to see you again." The sender's name was unfamiliar, but the meaning was unmistakable. My chest tightened, my hands trembled. My head was spinning, and knowing the signs had been there all along. The late-night work meetings, the sudden obsession with her appearance, the way she guarded her phone. I'd questioned her before, only to be dismissed with a hollow laugh. "You're imagining things." She returned to the car with gift in hand, smiling as if nothing was out of the ordinary, but I couldn't hold back. "Who's the message from?" I asked. Her smile faltered, eyes flickering with hesitation. "What message?" The silence between us was thick with tension as she looked away, avoiding my gaze, and the truth seemed to hang in the air, unspoken yet undeniable. I chose not to press further for an answer, as we needed to head to the way, and it was already getting late. At the party, laughter surrounded us, but I was miles away. She laughed, chatted, played her part, but I saw through it. Everything felt hollow, a performance. By the time we got home, I was beyond exhausted, not from the evening itself, but from the weight of everything that had been left unsaid. I couldn't take the silence any longer. My voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Enough," I said, my tone trembling with both anger and desperation. "Tell me the truth. Who is he?" She didn't argue, didn't even look surprised. Her silence was deafening, her gaze heavy with something I couldn't quite place. Guilt, resignation, or both. Tears welled in her eyes as the truth became unavoidable. The trust we'd built crumbled in moments. "I think we need to cool off," she said, packing her things with eerie calm. I sat there, numb, as she walked out the door. The sound of it closing left me in a void, staring into the emptiness where our future once stood. And just like that, the relationship that had once felt so real, so full of promise, ended, leaving nothing but an empty, cold space between us. In the days that followed, I convinced myself she would come back. I believed she would realize her mistake, apologize, and we'd rebuild what we had. But she didn't. She was simply gone. No calls, no texts, no gestures of remorse. It was as if I had never mattered to her. The days felt endless. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed every moment of our relationship, searching for clues I had missed, wondering what I could have done differently. I hated her for what she did, but more than that, I hated myself. I blamed myself for trusting myself too much, for not being enough, for everything. I struggled to reconcile the person she was in the end with the person I had loved. I replayed the good times, our laughter, our plans for the future, the moments we shared, wondering how she could discard it all so easily. It felt like she had moved on without a backward glance, while I was left to pick up the shattered pieces of my heart. Friends tried to console me. "Time heals all wounds," they said. But in those moments, time felt like the enemy. Every second stretched into an eternity. Nights were the hardest. Alone in the dark, I'd lie awake, consumed by anger, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of loss. Time did pass swiftly, and a few months later, one night, as I sat staring at the ceiling, a thought struck me. This can't be all there is. I couldn't let this pain define me. I couldn't let her betrayal be the end of my story. So I made a choice. I decided to confront my head-on pain. I began walking. I walk around a few blocks near my home as part of my new exercise routine, and it became my sanctuary. With each step, It felt as though I was gently releasing fragments of the heaviness I had been carrying. As I strolled alone down the street, I noticed the dogs barking at me, the warm glow from neighbors' windows, and the trees lining the road. It dawned on me how much beauty I had overlooked, lost in my focus on what I had lost and the emotions that overwhelmed me. In the quiet of my solitude, I found the space to reflect, to delve into my feelings, and to truly examine my role in the relationship. I saw my imperfections when I may not have been the best partner I could be. But this wasn't about blaming myself. It was about growing, about taking a step forward toward becoming a better version of myself. I turned to my older sister, someone whose honesty and care I deeply trusted. Through her gentle guidance, I started to view the relationship from a new perspective. I realized how selfish I had been, never truly considering her thoughts or feelings, nor genuinely listening to what she said. I began to see the cracks that had been there long before her betrayal. With my sister's encouragement, I reflected on how I could grow, not just for the sake of future relationships, but for my own well-being. My sister's words helped me understand that her actions were a reflection of her choices, not my worth. Slowly, I learned to let go of self-blame and to embrace my emotions instead of pushing them away. With her support, I allowed myself to feel anger, sadness, and disappointment fully, letting them move through me as a part of the healing process. Forgiveness didn't come easily. For a long time, I held on to my anger as if it were a shield, protecting me from further pain. But over time, I realized that the anger was only hurting me. Holding on to it was like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. So, I made a conscious decision to forgive, not for her sake, but for mine. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting what she had done or excusing her behavior. It meant releasing the grip her actions had on my heart. It meant letting go of the past so I could move forward. I wrote her an email. Texting wasn't an option since she had blocked me, but I needed to find closure for myself. In that email, I acknowledged my pain, shared my feelings honestly, and in the end, offered her forgiveness and wished her a bright future. When I finally hit send, it felt as though a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders. She didn't respond, as I had expected, but that didn't matter. For the first time in months, I felt a sense of relief, as if I could finally breathe freely again. With time, I began to rediscover myself. I picked up hobbies I'd neglected, like reading and hiking. I reconnected with friends I had drifted away from. I focused on my career, setting goals and working toward them with a renewed sense of purpose. Slowly but surely, I started to feel whole again. But the most important lesson I learned was this: my worth is not defined by someone else's actions. I am enough, just as I am. Betrayal taught me resilience. Heartbreak taught me empathy, and forgiveness taught me peace. If you're watching this and going through a similar experience, I want you to know that it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to cry, to scream, to mourn what you've lost. But don't stay there. Don't let the pain define you. Take it one day at a time. Lean on those who love you. Seek help if you need it. And most importantly, I believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Because there is. I promise you, there is. Heartbreak is not the end. It's a chapter. And when you turn the page, you'll find that the story of your life is far from over. You are stronger than you know, braver than you feel, and more deserving of love and happiness than you can imagine. Trust the journey and trust yourself. Thank you for watching. Take good care of yourself. See you next time.